Sasa mimi nimekaa hapo, nimesikia watu wakifoka, wamekohoa sana. Nilikuwa natama kila mtu atoe makohozi yote kwa kifua chake. Wengine wanasema ati baba yuko katika mahali mbaya kufanya uamuzi. Mahali mbaya ni wapi? Pale tuko ndio mahali mazuri zaidi. Kuna yale ambayo yanafanyika katika taifa letu ni maneno muhimu sana katika historia ya nchi yetu. Ukianza wakati wa enzi wa koloni, ungio huru imekuja miaka 61 sasa. Angalia kule Kenya imekuwa. Wakati inafika ambayo watu wanasema enough is.
Because I've also worked on elections. One of the things we miss out on is when the time comes, we wait for the last day of the election, the main election day. But guess what? There's a lot that goes on even during party primaries, and we don't need to join parties that exist. People are free to join parties, progressive, idealistic parties, because parties will still be the ones that they'll
mimi najua.
So let's spread the message. Let's not relent.
Pale maneno haya yanatoka. Mwaka jana tulikuwa kwa barabara.
And as has been stated,
tulikuwa kwa barabara wa Kenya. Na wajamaa walikuja. Na wale ambao walifanya tumpoteza maisha mengi zaidi. Mwaka jana watu wanatolewa kama nyumba yao, wanapigwa risasi. Tumezika vijana wengi zaidi mwaka jana. Tulikuwa tunatoka kwa barabara, wanakuja na risasi, wanafyatua kwetu bila huruma. Mpaka wakati mwingine nikaambiwa ya kwamba mkirudi tena kule Kamkunji, pale mimi mko pale kwa jukwaa, mtapiga risasi na watu ambao wameleta pale askari mbaya mjui. Ndio mimi nikamwambia hawa watu tusiende kule Kamkunji siku ya leo. Walikuwa na njama mbaya zaidi. Sasa tukasema, rafiki yangu akatoka kule Nigeria, akaja kaongea na sisi, akasema tuketi chini. Tukaongea, baadaye tukakubaliana ya kwamba badala ya kupeleka watu wetu kwa barabara na wapige na risasi namna hii, watu waongee. Kalonzo akaongoza timu yetu, wakaenda wakakaa chini, wakaongea, wakatoa ripoti ya NADCO report. Hiyo ripoti ikaletwa, ikakabidhiwa mimi, wengine wakapelekea Bwana Ruto. Jamaa wakakaa ngumu na hiyo ripoti, na mimi nilikuwa nimejua yale ambayo yalifanyika mwaka jana itarudi tena.
Thank you very much.
Hii mambo ya Gen Z si tofauti na yale ilikuwa mwaka jana. Ile hasira ya mwaka jana ndio imerudi sasa. Na Gen Z wamenituma mimi ujumbe, kaniambia baba, kaa nyumbani, mfanye kutosha, wacha sisi tumalize hii kazi. So nitume mimi ujumbe namna hiyo. Si mimi nimetulia. Mimi sijafanya chochote. Kini juzi wakanitumia mimi ujumbe ya kwamba ile ripoti ya IBC ambayo imepitishwa na bunge tarekewa sahihi na Bwana Ruto, na wanataka mimi kama co-principal niwe pale. Wakasema itakuwa Ikulu, wakasema mimi siendi Ikulu, iwe mahali ingine. Wakasema kwa OP, nikasema hapana. Mwishowe wakasema KICC, nikasema hapo sawa, nitakuja. Nikampigia Kalonzo simu, nikamwambia Kalonzo, wanataka mimi niende, lakini wewe ndio uliongoza timu yetu, wewe na Wandayi muende na mimi nikae kando. Kalonzo akasema mpaka wewe ukuje. mimi nikae kando. Sasa ilikuwa tuanze iwe saa 3, nikamwambia mimi sijajitayarisha, wacha nijitayarishe tuweke saa 4. Tukaenda tukakutana na Kalonzo na hao wengine wote, tukaongea pale. Ndio sasa tukaongea tukasema, pale Kenya iko hapa, tuko mahali mbaya, mambo haiwezi kuendelea namna hii. Hatuwezi kuongea mambo yoyote mpaka watu Kenya wakubaliane. Nataka watu waelewe pale hii mambo ya
it even kills that essence of humanity, because we don't understand what human being would do this to another human being. And so the nation demands to be addressed with what
dialogue ilitoka wapi,
what must be done, and with timelines.
Tukaongea tukasema tuweke kongamano
under the carpet
ya watu, si dialogue na Bwana Ruto.
Thank you.
Ilikuwa ni people's dialogue, ati wa Kenya waende, sisi tukae pale.
I think
ili tuongee kama wa Kenya, sio atikwenda kuongea na Bwana Ruto na UDA. Hii haikuwa maneno tuko na maneno. Hata Ruto mwenyewe alikuwa hataki mambo ya dialogue, hataki mambo ya dialogue. Sasa haya maneno watu hawakuelewa vizuri, manake pale tuko hapa kuna hasira mingi zaidi. Mwaka jana waliua vijana 75 na zaidi. Mwaka huu sasa wameua watu hajulikani ngapi, manake sasa bado hata leo hii umefukua maiti kule Kware, kule Mkuru kwa Njenga, watu ambao wanawawa kama wanyama. Tulisema huyu Bwana Kome atoke. Sasa sisi mwaka jana tulipeleka yeye Hague kwa ICC, mambo bado yuko kule kwa Hague. Akaniambia mimi yeye haogopi Hague, kwa wakati yako itafika. Kilio cha kifo halisikii dawa. Sasa Bwana Kome jana tulisema toke na akatoka. Haitoshi, yule Bwana Bungei ambaye iko Nairobi mjinga zaidi afuate. Lakini usiwatoe hapo waziri ambaye anahusika na mambo ya usalama ashtakiwe. Kuna masharti mengi zaidi ambayo ziko. Vile Orengo alisema, hao vijana walienda bunge, wakaenda katika mahakama kuu, walikuwa wanataka waende Ikulu. Hiyo manake sheria ni nini? Inaonyesha kwamba vote of no confidence in the legislature, no confidence in the judiciary, no confidence in the executive. Kura ya kutokuwa na imani na hizo viungo vitatu vya utawala.
At the end of the day, we have a proper constitution that we have to protect. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, which gives privileges, rights, responsibilities to institutions of government, and it's very important that we hold individuals.
Vijana wameingia ndani ya bunge mpaka wakaenda kwa kiti cha Bwana Speaker.
And I speak from the perspective
wakasema ya kwamba hawana imani na bunge, wakaita MPs.
In terms of facilitation.
Sasa vile nasema bunge hii sasa, there's a vote of no confidence by the people. Bunge hii ndio kwanza iende, the whole parliament. Pale ilikuwa ni masharti ambayo tulikuwa tunataka kuweka kwanza.
Not only the
institution as tunasema judiciary,
but also the
judiciary ambayo tutisi sisi mwaka juzi kusema tulikuwa tunasema hot air,
and I think these are
takataka. Wao ndio takataka.
I don't know, Sir John.
Vile nataka radical reforms the judiciary.
Yes, I can hear
you. Executive, we can hear. Nataka reforms. Hayo Hayo ndio maneno tulikuwa tunasema, tunataka tuende mahali ambayo watu wanakaa chini wanasema no confidence bunge itoke, no confidence in the judiciary. Hiyo ni mambo dala kuchukua na ngoja yako, sio mambo mengine, sio mambo ya kwenda kukaa na hao watu kuongea ati mtapatia sisi nini, ati tupatie hii mkono, patie sisi paja, sisi mguu. Sisi mambo watu wakwenda kuomba. Sisi sio watu kwenda kuomba. Sisi tunasema it is our right. The people of Kenya deserve better. We need good governance. Mwaka jana tulikuwa tunaongea juu ya mambo ambayo hao.
There's no one who will come for us. It is us. Let's avoid these politicians. This is our time.
Jinsi wanaongea juu yake.
So thank you so much.
Gharama ya maisha imepanda. Mambo ya ushuru imekuwa juu zaidi. Vijana hawana kazi. Unemployment, vijana hawana kazi yoyote, wamesoma, wako na certificate na kuna kazi.
Legal experts.
Mambo ya ukabila, ubaguzi ya ukabila, tribalism imezidi zaidi. Kijana amesoma lakini hakuna certificate, achukuliwe kwa sababu jina yake inaanza ni Mutua, mwingine ni Wanjala, mwingine ni Onyango na kadhalika.
The professions that I have just mentioned, so that at least we have experts who can be able to address these concerns. Kindly proceed.
Uwe fulani bin fulani nimungie pale ndani. Haya yote tulikuwa tunasema hatutaki ku.
First is just to send my condolences to the families that have lost loved ones. I've heard people, some people, I've read people posting on social media how perhaps the gender of those deceased is only lady, as though it is right for it to be. Others have commented that maybe it's not out of the action of the police from the recent demonstrations and the abductions, as though abducting is right, and as though, dying is okay as long as it's not done by the police. Either way, I think the police and government have got a big role to play. Whichever way, if they are not the ones who killed them, they still have a responsibility to unravel and get people to know how these people came to die, how they came to be gathered in one place in a very way that looks more or less as though the person is one and the same person. My background is in construction, and I wanted to shed a little bit of light on a point that the president raised, and I think Wakili Manwa also mentioned something on it. The quarries. Quarries normally, especially if they're using it for construction. And the parties involved is not just NCA. NEMA also has got a key role in approval of any usage of a quarry, and is still a government agency of regulatory nature. And when the quarry when a quarry has stopped being used, there is a clear procedure of decommissioning it. I'm just wondering how we remain a quarry that has never been decommissioned. And part of the things, the safety measures that are taken before you decommission a quarry is to make it safe for any human beings that are living close. For instance, if it has sharp edges, let's say like cliffs, you have to ensure that you cut them down so that there are slopes that someone can go down safely and get out safely. If they have any chance of falling, you have to ensure that you backfill so that you do not have. In case you want to convert it, say in a water pan, so that it can be a source of water or a water reservoir, then there is a way you are supposed to fence it off, so that first you protect the source of water.
Haya yote tulikuwa tunasema tunataka watu waongee juu ya mambo hayo.
Protect it from the dangers of any people who are living in the vicinity, perhaps falling in by accident or by any other reason, like the reasons that we are seeing where people are killing others and dumping them there. Either way, there has to be an agency somewhere that has either slept on the job or has acted negligently for us to be in the
ili
situation that
kuwe
we
na
are in.
uelewano,
Quickly, I will
sio
try
kwenda
to make a
kuombaomba.
comment
Hatutaki
on the situation
kuombaomba.
as it has been going on.
Sisi
In the
tunasema
country
kabla hatujaanza
and where we
mambo
are. I
ya
know
hata
right now,
kuunda serikali,
because of the pressure, several things
mpaka
have
kuwe
happened. The president has done a huge step in dissolving his cabinet. But from where I sit, the biggest step is yet to be taken, because the biggest win is not the dissolution of the cabinet. The biggest win is
watu
on how
waelewane.
to reconstitute
Tunarudi kwa uchaguzi.
the cabinet.
Tunataka turudi kwa uchaguzi.
When I look at politicians, a lot of times I feel like most of them are still not getting the point. They don't seem to separate why people are protesting and why people are having a voice. Some of them are looking
Wala ma MP tuende nyumbani. Ma MP tuende nyumbani.
target them. Some of them are looking for a leader, maybe so that they can compromise them, but they don't.
Wewe unasema MP tuende nyumbani, nione mkono hapa.
Place. If anyone was listening, by now they should have known that the deepest
hata magama nyumbani, hata magama tuende nyumbani wote, sio na ma MCS nataka kwenda nyumbani. Wakati wanasema ndio nisione, as many wanted to still say aye. Kwa hivyo nazakaje kwa hivyo sisi tumesema ile kongamano tunataka ni kongamano ya Wakenya, ile ambayo inaitwa dialogue ya Wakenya, kupitisha resolution ya kwamba tunataka hii na hii na hii ifanyike.
Some of the proposals that were being made, they turned out to look like they were harsh. In 2023, people sat back and said, okay, let's try it, as long as it is going to help us to
the people's dialogue.
Mostly because I believe that a leader, someone who is up there, they have access to information, they have access to intel that most of us might not be having. So many times we have to give a benefit of doubt to the leader and the person who is high up there. But when it turns out that our worries become confirmed, that, that was a bad decision, after being patient for 1 year, and then another bad decision again is piled up on it, it gets people worried. If we have to get from where we are, and if we must get a win from the dissolution of the cabinet, there are several things that I think the president must do in walking us to the next cabinet. Number one, if I were to speak to him directly, I don't have that chance here, but I will still say it because I'm speaking to Kenyans. He must avoid as much as possible the known groupings, the wash-wash groupings. They are known. Either the intelligence system machinery that is set up by government is able to give him all the full list of names of the wash-wash enterprise, and he must avoid them as much as possible. He must avoid generally recycling the political class, because that's something that is really going to anger Kenyans so much if he has to go that direction. Number three, he must avoid these Azimio and ODM scavengers, because there are several of them that I can see around who are already milling around and trying to get an opportunity, perhaps in the name of government of national unity, dialogue, and blah, blah. That will be a mistake, because if he goes that direction, it's going to make things messier, and he might create a lot more anger from the public, and I don't know how it will turn out. Number 4 or number 5, one of the biggest problems we faced, when the president was campaigning, he was a totally different person. He has to bring us that William Ruto that was there during the campaigns. That William Ruto that was very promising, and the William Ruto that was carrying the aspirations of Kenyans while he was looking for the votes. He was able to identify between meritocracy and sycophancy. When he was picking his campaign machinery, by a big extent, he picked people who were competent, some of them who were even his known enemies, but because they had the skill sets and the competencies, he was able to pick them. He gave us a picture that this can be a president who will pick the right people for the job and get the job done. When he won the elections, things changed, because He went back for the the non-wash gangs, and the method approach that was used to select his cabinet from the word go, I think from where I sit and from the things I've heard, was faulty. And I always say that every human being, however good they are, including all of us on this forum, you have potential to be devils or potential to be angels. The difference, what makes the difference between whether you'll be a devil or an angel, is the method that puts you in the place that you find yourself in. So even if you got an angel being employed as a cabinet secretary, but the angel has to part with 100 million or 200 million, there is always the risk that once that angel becomes that cabinet secretary, they can easily become a devil because of the method or the approach that was used to get them into that position. And that was one of the tragedies that must have been experienced, because there was a lot of stories of hundreds of millions, exchanged with through gunny bags and what have you at that time. Whether it is believable, whether it's true or not, I think His Excellency the President must be knowing the truth behind that. It's another pitfall that he must avoid by all means. He must avoid it like a plague this time round when he's selecting his cabinet, and he must find a way of going out there, whether he's picking people from the civil service or from the private sector. He must pick people that first he's confident and happy about their competencies, but secondly, he needs to pick them purely based on merit, so that he has some degree and a leeway for control, so that he knows the relationship between him and the people that he has chosen as a cabinet is performance and delivery to the Kenyan public, as opposed to trying to pay debts that you have incurred, by collecting money or letting money exchange between people and others. I think that might help him if he follows those.
Ruto. Baba Jalil must go. Cut the body, man. Ruto. Baba Jalil must go. Cut the body, man. Ruto. Baba Jalil must go.
Because the only thing that puts us together as a country is that piece of statute called a constitution, because it's a contract we have between us that tells us we need to live with each other in this manner. If that constitution was not there, we have no business or anything else that guides why we are sitting together as a country. We must keep on remembering that we have that document to govern us, that document to help us to walk a common journey, to focus on a common destiny as a country, and support each other and encourage each other. For a long time, our country has been run based on fear. The powers of the administrators or the people who have been leading, they have led through fear. You were just scared. You are threatened of this, threatened of that. You are told, if you comment, there is a time for those of us who are my age, people could not even sit in their house and mention the name of the president. Those years in 80s, in 90s. And then there came to a time when people, at least when President Kibaki came and there was a bit of opening up the democratic space, but still people kept on pulling each other back with the threats and the fears that you cannot say something against government. Government will bite you. Government will do ABC to you. And our political class seemed to be stuck in that past. they think that they cannot be told anything, and if you are told, and if you try to tell them anything, they think they can find 1,001 ways to fix you, to hurt you, to injure you, to do ABCD. But if there are many more voices who are speaking out and coming out and letting this known that this is what we would like to have as a country, this is what perhaps will give us progress and help them maybe to stop just one time and listen and understand what their people are speaking. Because by and large, including those people who are speaking and do not deeply understand why they're going that direction, they are feeling something, and that's something that they're feeling it means well for the country. We just want systems that are working. We want people that care. We want leadership that cares where they're taking their nation, so that we move to one common destination that is good for all of us as a country. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Howard, I think you've raised substantive issues. I want to assure you that as the Law Society, will ensure that we follow up on the questions you've raised on the National Environmental Management Authority, which has the responsibility to manage those spaces where people who are found to have been dumped, and we will ensure that we hold them responsible as to how those individuals who are dumped in those places.
Nema, they're actually supposed to issue licenses for decommissioning. I'm wondering why they have not done that, and why they've taken that long, and why we still have an open place that is dangerous to the public. So I appreciate that you can pick it up and follow it up, so that at least we have firm answers from the regulators. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We will ensure that we initiate that process, including instituting proceedings before the tribunal and even in court. As you are aware, we have the Environment and Land Court within the spaces of the High Court that actually handles environmental issues. And this is one of the areas we want to pursue as a Law Society, to ensure that they account for those spaces, and including the risks you have indicated. Because if those spaces are a risk to the public, they have a duty to actually secure the places, those places from by ensuring that they are not a risk to the members of the public. I want to allow someone else to speak. Dr. Ben, can you hear me? You have the microphone. Dr. Ben, are you there? You have the microphone. Kindly.
Yes, I'm here. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Kindly proceed.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you.
Good evening, guys. My name is Ayo. First of all, my deepest condolences to, all the lives we lost. Everyone that has faced police brutality. I mean, we really sorry for them. And as I begin, I just have a few questions that we've been asking, but we still don't have answers to. Yes, we saw that the president decided to, send all the CSs home. Of course, now they're sacked. And so what does that mean to these CSs in all these various departments? Are they going to be grilled? I mean, most of them were corrupt. Are they going to face the law? Are they going to be taken to book? Because we need answers. What really happened? What work were they doing home in their various departments, and all the monies that were lost, all the public funds that were lost, and are we going to recover them? The MPs, I feel now that the CSs are gone, we need to recall our MPs. We need to recall our MPs, because the country has been going through a lot, and the reconstitution.
Sorry, is everyone else able to follow what Dr. is saying? I don't seem to hear him.
We can hear him.
We can hear me. We can hear him. I don't know. I think you need to check on your internet.
Okay, so I can continue.
We can hear him what he said. Yeah,
Okay.
please continue.
On matters IBC.
Is there anyone
When is
speaking?
it being reconstituted? Because even if we had to go back to the drawing board and go for elections today, we don't have a functional independent electoral system. We don't have it. When is it being reconstituted? Because those are answers we really need as Kenyans. And on matters concerning police brutality, when yesterday or the other day on the Citizen Assembly, you all heard how that poor woman was really, crying about her son. He didn't know where her son was. He's asking questions. And I know many other women out there are asking about their children. Do we have answers to these women? Do we have answers for our parents? Where are our fellow Gen Zs and youths, because they're missing? And we also, the bodies that were recovered on those dump sites, are these the missing people that we've been reporting missing? Are they being abducted then killed? And if they're being abducted then killed, who's handling this mess? Who's gonna answer for all this mess? Because one life lost is too many. And every day the media is reporting the number of people killed. It's not even the accurate number. Is the media gagged? Is the government gagging the media? Because we have a lot of unanswered questions from the media. One media reports this, the other reports that. Then the netizen come to, discover something so different from whatever has been happening. So is the media really independent, or is it gagged? So those are some of the questions. And the abductees, what is the government doing to ensure that the abductees are found? And if they are dead, are they accounted for? Is the government accounting for all these bodies? On matters police brutality, these policemen, this police force, we have them on camera. Why is the president still saying that we're gonna look into that? Yet we have these policemen on camera. We have them shooting innocent lives on the streets. We have them forcing, beating us up on the streets. There are pictures, there's pictorial evidence, there video evidence, and yet they can't still be brought to book. So those are some of the questions that I'm asking myself as a Kenyan, as a young Kenyan, because on Tuesday we're still hitting the streets. On Tuesday we're still going to the streets, and we have only one message, that Ruto must go, and he has to go, because we can't have a government that is instilling punitive taxes on us. When we make noise, we still get killed. And these policemen, I've been documenting a documentary since the protest began, and I've been releasing snippets. But thing is, some policemen are literally crying and saying, yo, si hatutaki kwa hizi streets, but tumeambiwa tukuje. I have video evidence. I interviewed one of them, and they said, me by them hatutaki kwa hizi streets, but wadosi wametukanyagia tukuje kwa hizi streets. Na nikamuuliza, are you guys allowed to shoot live bullets on us? Are you guys allowed to lobby live bullets on us? Wanasema they are not allowed, but wamefinywa. Because at the end of the day, they have to report to their bosses that such a thing happened. They took lives. So is IG Koome going to be jailed or what? Because they were under instructions, I'm sure. So we really need to start asking these difficult questions, because innocent Kenyans' lives are involved. Babies are involved. Our children are involved in this. They're being like a 2-year-old baby being shot, or a 3-year-old baby or a 5-year-old baby being shot. To be honest, anajua kurusha mawe, hajui kurusha mawe. Anajua Ruto must go, hajui. But hata wamama wetu wako tu kwa biashara zao, wanakuwa humbled up like wakipigwa. I mean, what kind of country are we in? What kind of country are we gonna live in? And what's our future? Because for us, we just need answers. And what we need is Ruto must go. And are we reconstituting the IBC? Sorry for taking the mic too long. Those are my questions.
Thank you very much for those questions, and I think they are critical. Some of the questions were responded to, and it's very important that we go back to what we spoke about. On the question of police brutality and the abductions, the injuries meted on the members of the public through live bullets and rubber bullets and whichever form of injuries, we have documented this process from the beginning. As the Law Society of Kenya, we have, as we mentioned yesterday, over 36 cases in court challenging specific issues of abductions, of disappearances, of the deaths that have been experienced so far. We have documented, and we continue to document the deaths that were registered on Friday, were discovered on Friday in the quarry. And I think it's important that the members of the public appreciate that as the Law Society, we have a toll number. And again, if you live within that space and you know that there's an injustice that has been committed within that space, it's very important that you actually utilize the toll number. I think it's on the page of the president of the Law Society, Faith Odhiambo's Twitter account. You can be able to, communicate anything confidentially as to what you have witnessed within this period so that the Law Society can be able to pick it up. I will want to invite, I can see we have journalists on this space. I'll want to invite them as speakers to answer the question as to whether the media is independent and whether it's being gagged. Even as we do so, I will ask one of the members, one of the advocates in this forum to answer the question of IEBC and the constitution of it. You are aware. That chance before we give John Alan Namu to respond to the question of the media and what the media is doing to ensure that they actually document what is happening. Dr. Ben, are you there? If Dr. Ben is not there, John Alan Namu, you have the microphone. Kindly, if you can proceed. You've had the questions that have been raised. John, are you there? Can you hear me? Wakili Ndegwa, can you respond to the questions of IEBC? You have the microphone even as we wait for the other speakers to confirm.
I am not sure the exact issue to address in respect to the IBC, but all what I would say is that we all know that we are the verge where we must reconstitute that body. And the procedure of the reconstitution is quite different from what was happening before, because we now have political parties playing a major role in the nomination, in the way and the manner in which the commission will be constituted. The most interesting thing that has come out of the amendments to, or rather the act, is the role of the political parties liaison committee. The political party liaison committee is a body that is constituted of various political parties that are duly registered, and they've been given a prominent role because they have 3 slots within which they will fill or to go to the panel that will play the role of selecting and interviewing the potential commissioners. And we all understand that that political parties are easily infiltrated by various conflicting interests. So the most important thing that we must do is that to guard jealously to make sure that political parties bring into the panel competent individuals who will play the role of selecting and interviewing the commissioners. Of course, you understand that garbage in, garbage out. If we are able to get garbage at the panelist level, you will expect that the commissioners will come there in after will also be the same garbage. Azimio and KK coalition have equally been given one individual. The church has been given one individual because the panels, the total number is 9. So the question is, how do we make sure that the individuals coming to that particular panel are men and women of integrity who are beyond reproach, and men who cannot be compromised by the conflicting interests? We must all understand that political parties will have serious interest in the manner in which the IBC is reconstituted. So we must, I'm imploring upon everyone to stay on guard, to make sure that who are beyond reproach and who are not capable of being compromised. Permit me to move to the next level of what is currently happening. I have had various submissions and listened to able presentations, but I'm just asking myself, are we going to continue relying on the existing institutions? In my view, this is, I think, 14th day from all when these disappearances and abductions took place, and there is nothing that has happened. Howard submitted and said that if you look at the manner in which these bodies are being discovered, the manner in which they are being stuffed in those gunny bags, the places in which they are being recovered from, in my view, it speaks about a very can we go ahead and still expect that the perpetrator can perhaps help us resolve the current existing scenario? In my view, and I'll still say again, be it the Human Rights Watch, be it the Kenya Human Rights Commission, all international organizations or bodies domiciled here within, including the local journalism, we need to expose these things critically. You remember during the post-election violence, Boniface Mwangi was able to collect. Sorry for that. Mwangi was able to collect a lot of uh, pictorial evidence, which was displaying and which are currently displayed at the Museum of Kenya. That is part and parcel of activism that we all require to make sure that whatever is happening in this republic, the situation in Kenya may be projected out there, so that at the end of the day, people will get to know the existing situation. As at now, we still do not know how many people are missing. I seriously sympathized with that lady who was at the People's Assembly yesterday at Fungamano, and there are so many people who are undergoing similar experiences. So, in my view, we need to move away from the from the Kenya Red Cross. We need to start documenting these, and we need people to assist us. If you require volunteers, we have people who can help organizations collect and collate this data. So that at the end of the day, when we go to the street on Tuesday, The state will know that we are not just depending on the state apparatus who can conceal and manipulate evidence. We are also crying out there to the world for them to come and witness the unfolding events in the Republic of Kenya. I beg to rest my case unless there is any clarification that perhaps may be sought. I'm still online for consultation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wakili. John Alan Namu, you have the microphone kindly.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you to the LSK and your very able president, Faith, for hosting this space. I've been listening and dipping in and out, unfortunately, technology issues on my end, so I apologize if anything that I'm about to say has already been said or already been covered. But today, as a Kenyan and as a journalist, I sit in a very difficult situation, in a very difficult position in this way. I've been documenting and, as a journalist first with private media and now, running my own independent media company. I've been documenting cases of extrajudicial executions from as far back as the beginnings of the Mungiki killings in 2005 going forward. And, what you start to see is a transformation in methods in places where these bodies are dumped, and usually a holding pattern where a specific methodology is used that reflects that possibly there might be a hand of the state in doing so, right? So if I'm to compare what we witnessed with Rivayala last year to what we've seen yesterday and today, there's a lot of parallels to be drawn now. But here's the difficulty for me. So because we, as the media generally, are relied upon to relay credible information to members of the public, we have to, consult with a number of sources. Principle of which has been for years, the police and the state. And I think that the previous speaker speaks to the dilemma that we're in. We are now in a situation where the state is, there's such a low trust environment that we are in. I've never encountered this in all of my time reporting, that there's such low trust in the regime, there's such low trust in the state and in the police, that even their figures, even their numbers can't be relied upon. So it really is now a time of real reflection for us in the media, for for everybody generally, on how we can start to gather credible evidence around the kinds of things that are taking place in the country, and b, start to start the process of rebuilding the trust in institutions that we can all put our faith in. I mean, I've spoken about this before, but it's been said many times before that when institutions are over time have trust in them eroded through their actions, through corruption, and the various other things that we've witnessed in the country, we get to a situation where nobody can trust anything, and that becomes an incredibly hard place to navigate. So I'll speak to something that I've encountered over the past, few weeks, beginning with what happened in Githurai, and going forward. So we went out looking for people who can speak credibly to the things that have been taking place, and what we found is at the time that only one person was confirmed dead at that time, right? So we've been trying as hard as we can to find more evidence of even more people who have been killed, and the evidence can't just be people saying that things have happened. We have to go and verify these things for ourselves, lest we then become part of the crowd that's said to be misinforming people. That's a difficult kind of line that we have to walk as journalists now, and unfortunately, because there's a situation where our institutions are also not being trusted as well, the burden of trust that's being placed on us is incredibly high. One we do not shirk or do not run away from, but one that we must acknowledge is incredibly high. So At this point in time, as things go forward, I would implore members of the public to relying on the media organizations that they trust, or relaying information to the media organizations that they trust, to really try as well, because this is a situation that we haven't encountered before, to also try and see what the level of credibility of the information that's being passed along to us, that makes things easier for us to move a lot faster than we are. It makes things simpler for us to verify. And then the final thing that I will say, as I listen on to the kinds of things that are being said here and have been said elsewhere, is that we are also, just as Kenyans, so deeply pained and so deeply troubled by the things that have been going on with regard to extrajudicial executions, that it's even difficult to speak. I mentioned how long I've been covering these things. I mentioned various instances in which the state was implicated, and it's a very high trust that members of the public place in the state, place in the police, for them to consistently be implicated in these kinds of actions, and it's high time. It really is high time that we consider what kind of institutions we have, how we can rebuild them, who we can put our trust in, because as I've mentioned before, we are not held together by force. We're held together by trust. And so, I mean, if I'm to extend this whole issue of trust to the kinds of things that LSK is doing now, this is how trust is built, through working with communities, through being open and transparent, and we hope as well to be counted amongst them.
At this juncture, I'll invite Samuel. I don't know whether, Samuel, you can hear me. You can take over. Samuel. Then after Samuel, we'll have Bio.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm speaking from the diaspora, and I'm very happy for what the initiative the Law Society of Kenya has taken place. I have worked in the government before, and I want to bring to you something very serious that is crippling all the institutions. We have to understand that all bodies in Kenya, they work under the president. So the president appoints the cabinet secretaries. Then the cabinet secretary supervises the accounting officers, the PSS. So even if you get a very good PS right now, it will still be micromanaged from the presidency. So you need to read the political undertones of what are happening nowadays. There are some very junior government officers who can even give instruction directly to the PSS without even going through the cabinet secretaries. So what we need to do is to reform the country. You can't change the country without changing the top leadership. So even if you constitute the best cabinet right now, given the current political environment we have, those people will still be unable to deliver. We saw what happened, even getting the best Chief Justice after the new Constitution 2012. He was not able to work because he's still working, supervising people who are judges who are still corrupt. And those judges are still working with the political elite. So all the discussions we are doing right now, they will not work. And I'll tell you they will not work unless you change the top leadership. Most of the countries, most of us who have gone to outside countries we are working, we know that The president is the symbol of unity. If you don't have the trust with the president, then you find that all other institutions will not be able to work. So even if right now, if you go to even the smallest institutions, parastatals, wherever, those board chairmen of those parastatals, let's go to KEMSA, you'll find that the chairman is more powerful than the CEO and is politically connected to the state house. So we are making so much discussions about how we are going to hold to tell people to work well. We are going to put the best people. Even if you get the best people from the world, whichever you bring them, they will not be able to work as long as they are receiving instructions from the presidents. So we might be a democratic country, that's a fact, but the way our structures work are dictatorial. So if it's only that right now all the cabinet secretaries, they are under the oath that they cannot disclose some things, but you might be surprised to find that some of the things happening in Kenya, even the interior secretary might not be able to know, and is just keeping quiet. Instructions they may have been issued without involving him. So we need to be very careful to tell Kenyans what is exactly wrong with our country. And our country is rotten at the head. So if you don't cut the head, every reform you are going to do, every institution you are going to do, even if you bring the constitution of UK, even if you bring the constitution of US, it is not going to work. So we need to find a system whereby we have we delink the control of the head of state to all the organization. Secondly, the police are at the disposal of the president. It's like a militia of the president. So the president can use the police to do whatever he or she wants. So most of the developed countries like the US, you can't have the president using the police to brutalize people. The police report to the Constitution, the judiciary, the Department of Justice. So as long as the police are reporting under the instructions of the president, and you can attest, when there were demonstrations, when the president issued the speech at night, that is when we started hearing about the Gidurai or whatever. That should not happen. That should be the work of the Inspector General to see that there is something happening and he needs to take and protect without being given any instruction by a political person. So the police should be meant to understand that they need to report the Constitution. But the way it is right now, let's continue discussing. Let's continue discussing. But even if we stay here for the next 10, 20 years discussing, all the problems start at the State House. That is where the problems are. So as Gen Zs are saying, we need to do vetting of the people whom we are going to bring to the cabinet or new members of parliament. Even if you bring the best of the best members to the parliament, the government has a machinery to make sure that those people who are speaking the truth or doing the right way, they are silenced. I'll just give the last comment. You all saw what happened in 2017 when the former Chief Justice Maranga, whom we really love and we really trust, personally I trust him 100%, he made a judgment from his own assessment and experience that the election was not credible. What happens? When people started, when he started being threatened by the president, the political elite and the people who come from the community of the president, they started attacking the Chief Justice. And the guy was very humiliated, even to extent when he went to do the handover. So that's how we are killing very best and the best brains we have in Kenya. So I want to stop there and say that the only option we have right now is to cut the head of the snake. If we don't, it will come back and we'll forget about any more freedom of speech and we'll forget about any. Then lastly, I know the government has employed a lot of bloggers right now. They are trying to divert our attention right now. So let's be careful in the airspace. If you see any government, any person behaving like a blogger, there are so many right now. They have been bought and they have been infiltrated in the space. We need to unfollow them and ensure that we suppress their propaganda. Thank you very much. I've been waiting for this opportunity to speak, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samuel. And I think you've raised some substantive issues with regard to the attitude in government. Of course, we know that the president uh, directs a majority of the people he appoints in public office, and it's very important to know that the constitution we have now, that is approaching 14 years during its inception and promulgation in the year 2010, provides for accountability, provides for leadership and integrity provisions. And I think it's very important that we understand. And now that the public have an opportunity to uh, uh, participate in the process of appointment of the new cabinet secretaries, it's very important that we pay attention to the individuals who be proposed. And again, considering that this process will start again and will go through parliament through the vetting process, it's very important. It's very important that can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can someone hear me?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
it's
you.
very important that we participate. Thank you very much. It's very important that we participate actively as citizens in the vetting process of the cabinet secretaries. We have the ability to know who among them has cases in court, who among them has been involved in corruption, who among them has been involved in any other matter that actually undermines the constitutional provisions under Chapter 6 and Article 10. And so it's very important on leadership and integrity. And so it's very important that we engage them based on those provisions of the Constitution. Maybe it took some time for people to appreciate the document that we have and how progressive it is. But we have this moment to now speak from those provisions and articles under the Constitution and participate in that process and ensure that actually the individuals appointed to public office take up those responsibilities. I'll give an example of the Office of the Attorney General. As the Law Society of Kenya, we sue government on a daily basis from time immemorial. We sue the government on a daily basis on contraventions that touch on the Constitution. And in those suits, who comes on record on behalf of the ministries, cabinet secretaries, government entities, parastatals, and all? It's the Attorney General. And the funny bit is that we come to court and find that the Attorney General, who ought to have advised the president on the position of the law, coming to defend an illegality. The president must appoint a competent attorney general within the legal spaces. And I think the last attorney general who ever appeared in court was Professor Githu Muigai. He was one of the attorney generals we had who appeared in court physically as the titular head of the bar and actually argued cases, not only in Kenya, but at the International Criminal Court as the attorney general. The responsibility of the attorney general is a huge responsibility under the Constitution, and I know you guys have gone through the work of the Attorney General and the responsibilities that he has in terms of advising government. The irony is this: that the Attorney General spends a majority of his time to defend the government on questions he knows that are unconstitutional in the first place. Because as the Law Society, we don't go to court to challenge anything. We challenge decisions that have been made against the Constitution. And it's very important to appreciate that that office is more important than any other office. And the president should be very keen as to who he appoints to be Attorney General, because otherwise, without a proper Attorney General in office, you will definitely have every government decision challenged in court. It was not the intention of the drafters of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 to have the Attorney General defend unconstitutional pronouncement through executive orders. I will list as many as I can. In under the previous government, the Law Society challenged the transfer of the Kenya Meat Commission from the Minister of Agriculture to the Minister of Defense. We challenged the appointment to cabinet of Honorable Badi, a military man. We challenged executive orders transferring independent judicial officers to ministries. And yet we know